Hello.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi, Sara.
Carlos. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good as well. Give me 1 second. Sorry. I'm trying to get the audio to work. Okay. Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for accepting to meet with me. I know that you've had very busy days recently. It's very nice.
Yes. Yeah, it's that kind of time. Sales time.
Yeah, of course. Um, First of all, could you tell me a little bit about yourself and your company, Vegan Swear?
About myself, well, yes, I've been in the manufacturing and sourcing industry for the majority of my professional life cycle, working for different brands, mostly the major brands. Okay. I got to my company, to creating my company after working for several big brands
Okay.
and seeing how much areas of improvement they were in the productivity and in the sourcing area.
Yes.
But most brands were maybe too big to make changes. And I actually saw an opportunity to create a company which go a little bit more with sustainability. And I started Vegans Wear because of that, to create a new opportunity for consumers, like a new element on the table that they could choose. When I created Vegans Wear, it was 2012.
Wow.
So there were not so many. There
Yeah,
were
a
not so
while ago.
many vegan options in the market. And yeah, being in a small company, it have helped me to make decisions faster and easy to control policies.
Okay. And for the people who don't
Yeah.
know, like, what is Vegan Swear? What do you guys sell? What do you do?
For people that don't know Vegans Wear, sorry, I missed the last part.
No worries. Like, what do you sell? What is the business?
Oh, okay. So the Vegans Wear, basically, that's a great question. Vegans Wear, I'm still defining it.
Okay.
But the base is I want Vegans Wear want to be able to be 100% sustainable. We are not there yet. We want to sell everything that the consumer demands. Right now, we are concentrating in footwear,
Okay.
shoes, because it's one of the items that create one of the biggest waste in the air, in the planet, because the process is very, very polluted. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
There's so many components and chemics in the process. So we are in the footwear industry. We are also doing bags, fabric bags.
Okay, that's super cool.
With the same purpose. So we try to source components that are local and try to use the most efficient productivity processes and all that. But Vegans Wear is how can we make anything sustainable? So yeah, right now we are more in the accessories section because that's practically my base. But I'm open to go into other areas and to explore different areas. I started with footwear. We started with footwear, but then now we are doing tote bags. Now we are doing baseball hats.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I hope things keep coming. Like there's always a new opportunity to do things better.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you. And how do you ensure sustainability across your supply chain, particularly when sourcing raw materials?
We're sourcing raw materials, yes, that is the biggest challenge right now for companies like Veganswear, to create a sustainable supply chain. So how do we do that? First, we try to communicate ourselves first. What is our purpose and our code of conduct, and why we're looking for. Once we pass that information to our suppliers, they study, they think what we're looking for. And if they think that they can work with us, that they commit to try to stay in a code of conduct, then we work with them. Okay. First of all, what we as suppliers is to create their own code of conduct. Like, how do they manage their systems? We try to ask them for sustainable transportation. Like, how do you transport this? How do you move things from A to B? That they have completely water, because when we talk about sustainability, water, right? It's one of the biggest things that we're looking to save and maintain.
Okay.
So we try to control how do they manage their water system, meaning do they reuse water or not? That they have ethical sourcing too into the suppliers, because they're going to get components from other suppliers. So we try to pass the chain of sustainability to all the suppliers involved. And we also try to look at what kind of certifications they have. That has been a good way to start with suppliers.
Okay.
Like,
do you prioritize any specific certifications or practices?
If we prioritize any of them, there are some certifications that are the most strict than others. So yeah, it would be always great when suppliers have like the best possible, like GOTs or luxury, sustainability, and others. But sometimes that limits the suppliers that you can use. So,
of course.
Yeah, we prioritize, but we are also open to, as far as they have a sustainable process in the system, it's a good start.
Oh, of course, yeah. It's better to start. Could you walk us? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, we have like sometimes you want to use a component. Like, for example, in footwear, they can be 50 components in one item. So the challenge start there. Maybe you find one material that the supplier is using this specific certification, which is great. But then you find 3 or 4 elements in which you have no choice to go to the lower certification possible, but at least you try to understand that the company have a code of conduct and ethical sourcing, and you start from there. In like an example for us is our upper material. We use like it's called GRS 4.0, which is Global Recycled Standard.
Okay.
So that is at least you understand with the certification that the supplier is in the right direction.
Of course. Okay, thank you. Could you walk us through your logistics and distribution process within your local supply chain? How do you minimize the environmental impact of transporting materials and finished products within your region?
Wow, that's a big challenge now, logistics and distribution, right? And for a brand like Veganswear, that we are looking to try to produce locally everything in the Americas, because that's our biggest distribution center at this point.
Yes.
The challenge of logistics with materials is a huge challenge, because it's known, right, that in the Americas we don't have a lot of manufacturing processes right now for materials. Most of the components are coming from overseas, and the industry is working hard in creating more local material suppliers, but the fact is that most of the components come from overseas. So
Okay.
how do we do this? We are trying to get most of our components locally, okay? That's the first start. Like, we buy all our boxes in Dominican Republic, where we have the factory.
Okay.
And every component, we start like, what can we get locally? So everything that we can get local, we do. With the things that we have to import, what we try to do is that the logistic is try to get the port that is closest to the factory. In our case, the port that we use is like 5 to 8 miles from the factory. So that's completely, I would call it very close. If when it's possible, you try to use full efficient vehicles, like whatever you can get that is electric or solar panel chargeable. That's when we are doing the sourcing for materials, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now for transporting finished products, which is a huge challenge too, because we sell online, right? And
Yeah.
everybody has a different address in a different city. Of course, whenever you can to use electric vehicles, okay, or at least hybrid, where you can. Bicycles sometimes when it's close.
Yeah.
But with something that we are doing now is trying to put all the shipments of the week in one day. Like, okay, we can Wednesday we'll be shipping all together to this city, so that there's not so many one package here, one package going there, all packaged the same day. Also, we try to use components that are reusable, so that the finished product doesn't impact the environment. For example, our boxes, we try to make the packaging boxes of the shoes reusable. Like, we added a handle, so like if the person gets the shoes and the shoe box become like a little suitcase, small, or like a little I don't know. You can use it for anything else that you want after.
Oh, that's super cool.
And and at the same, thank you. We created that mold and worked with the local box maker.
Wow.
In our local area to make that box. And now anybody else that need boxes like that, we also told the supplier, like, yeah, you can use the same mold for anybody else. And also, how do we make the components more easily for the environment to dissolve them? Like, also the box is made, like, when it rains, we have made tests in the boxes that when it rains, that it can get diluted.
Okay.
And go back into the earth. So we don't want to use components that could be on if the consumer ends up throwing the garbage into whatever, at least that it can go fast from the environment. As we are using that type of packaging.
Okay, do you face any challenges when balancing this logistical efficiency with sustainability when you source and distribute locally as well?
Yeah, the biggest challenge is, unfortunately, the supply chain of components.
Okay.
Which is crazy, because everything was in the Americas in the 70s and 80s, but most of the component suppliers have moved out of the Americas. So the biggest challenge is bring back suppliers to the America. Okay, so that we can have an easier way to source our components. That's a big challenge. And also a big challenge is like lack of government support in creating basic laws. Like, for example, you cannot use foam components in manufacturing this and that. So if we had a little more of a sustainable base law in regions, it would be much easier to find components that are already in a sustainable area. Another challenge is also the price of components. When you have to use, because sometimes you want to use local components in your product, but the price difference is sometimes 3 times more expensive than importing. So sometimes I can see that push companies to try to import product versus using local. Yes. We use local as much as we can, okay, and we deal with the price point later. But those are the biggest challenge in balancing logistic efficiency and sustainability when sourcing components. Like, okay, we want everything local, but what is available locally?
Exactly.
Okay, and then you have to go for what you have, and then what you don't have, you have to bring import, and then try to use the, like in our case, whatever we don't have in our local region, we try to look in the closest countries, Mexico, Peru, Colombia.
Of course.
We try to stay in the Americas. What's not there, then you go by step. Okay, I couldn't find it here, then you go to the next region. Hopefully we can find everything local in the Americas. That's our goal. That would be a good balance in logistic efficiency. In the distribution area, the challenges that we face is lack of pride, I would call it.
Yeah.
How do I explain
I
that?
definitely see that in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, like, even if you make the best product possible, there's not like a big, I'm proud of using something made in Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
Because, there's so many because of reasons I don't know. So I'm sure like a good merchandising probably will explain that better. But what as a brand, what we face normally is the big brands, they promote so much bigger than us. Like, I won't name the big brands in footwear, but probably everybody knows them, right? Like the sport brands.
Yeah.
And that's the go-to for the consumer first. And then local brands are maybe, I don't know, maybe very specific consumers will go through to us. So that's a huge challenge for us. And then we try to go direct to the consumer. We don't have like distributors. We do factory to consumer normally.
Okay.
And a challenge there is also that the orders are very small and sometimes too small to be able to go to the point that you make a huge a profit that can help you to maintain your course. Let's put it like that. Again, because the big brands dominate most of the market.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Okay.
Those are the biggest challenge in distribution.
Okay, thank you so much.
In our brand, we try to distribute like we try to use a lot of mass transportation that is like buses, like metro. We don't try to send one package to one person, so we try to ship everything together weekly and try to minimize fuel consumption as much as we can.
Okay, perfect. How does your company create shared value for the communities involved in your local value chain, particularly in terms of supporting local economies and making the most of any strengths or resources that make your production more efficient or unique?
Okay, communities involvement and value. First, we try to buy local.
Okay.
We try to buy everything that we can local. And when you communicate this to your workmates, company as a company value, like start with finding out what's local. That has really served a point for us because sometimes when you start searching, then you start finding.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, at one point, we didn't know that we could make our packaging in Dominican Republic. And the first thing was like, okay, where do we buy in one country? But we start searching and we start the different sources of local people making boxes. So the first thing is like, you have to start like, what can I get local? And with that, you're going to be doing a huge support to all the local businesses. And then at the same time, promote the local business. Like if once you find a supplier that can do an item or a component, promote this component with your other industry partners or even competition. Like, oh, look, I found this supplier that can do this paper from sugarcane.
Mm-hmm.
And promote them so that they can grow, because if they grow, then you will know that the supplier will stay, and you can use it as a source. Another thing is also see areas of development in the community. Like, what do we don't have? Okay, we don't have a water treatment plant.
Yeah.
In the area. Okay, so how can we work together in getting resources to develop and create a water treatment plant for the community? Because when they see that the company is working with the community, then they will try to stay longer with the company. They will share the same values of the company. And everybody, it will be like a win-win situation.
Yes, of course. Do you see maybe more local people coming up to you guys since you guys have created this value? Do you see maybe that they are attracted to you as a company and that more people offer their help?
Yes, we find that a lot.
Okay.
Of course, we want to find more.
Of course.
But we also understand that we are still very small.
Yeah.
And we are like changing and learning in the process. We have paid a big price for staying in our course. Like, we could be like a huge brand today with the investment that we have already.
Yeah.
Just doing what everybody is doing, right? But we have stayed our course and in what kind of components, and that we want to be a sustainable brand. And when we mean sustainable, we mean that we want to do a product that meets today's the present needs, but without compromising the ability of the future generations, right?
Yeah.
So that's our goal. We are not like a profit-driven company.
Mm-hmm.
It have cost us. We have paid a price for that, but to get the communities involved is key. And we see a lot of people coming to us, yes, and trying to be part of projects and helping. Like, we see that with the biggest thing on this is like when we say, hey, there's a situation in this community with the river. We want to go and do a cleanup and bring some items, because sometimes you go and do a cleanup, but when you leave, you notice like, oh, wait a second, but the garbage is going on the floor because maybe there's not containers, where to throw them. So when you work with the community, this is when we see the most people coming up and trying to help and try to bring solutions to the table. But anywhere that you go, starting with the company employees and everybody, but also when you go to communities, a huge point is providing the education, like maybe a little seminar, maybe some classes, so that the message goes to people. Sometimes people do things because they didn't know. I know that we are in 2024 and people should know everything, but you will find that some people, it doesn't hurt to provide, like, hey, look, don't throw this. We're going to be doing this in a different way. Things will not go on the floor. Everything will go in these waste baskets, and, and why you do it. So providing education is key. Also providing a lot of respect, like communities, they want to work, then they want to be part of any environmental movement. And they want to work also in companies that are community, we're looking for the best for the communities. But respect goes a big way. When people feel very well respected in the companies, that help us to maintain the workers, and because a company will not gain anything from people coming and going from the company. So
exactly.
Long-lasting relationships between the company and the workers, with the communities, everybody involved can create a long-lasting relationship, and then the company will benefit so much, because efficiency in a worker will come only after doing the same things many times. So you get to a point that you can create efficiency, and also good work environment.
Okay.
Like the workers want to go there the next day. How do you create a good work environment? The simple that they have. Sorry about the noise.
No worries.
The sirens.
It's okay.
But work environment, creating just a place that the people want to come. It's very simple. You can create an area out of that people can have a good break time, that people have their break, that people have the basic, like water, that there is a space for them to grow, and also give back to the communities that they live.
Yeah.
That helps a lot.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
And knowing the community values, that is non-negotiable. And communities will also constantly defend against development. Sometimes the development in the community can come that doesn't go with the value of the community, or that they know that it will destroy the areas where they live in. So we try to work with the communities in what works for the community, and try to work with the communities together.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. What steps do you take to ensure that labor practices across your supply chain comply with ethical standards, such as, for example, ILO labor rights, particularly with suppliers and manufacturers you partner with?
Good. Okay. In this part of labor rights and manufacturers you partner with, where we manufacture now, in the Dominican Republic, we do have a lot of help in this part from the government laws,
okay,
and regulations. They are very, very strict, and there are different. Each company or suppliers are given. They have to get certifications and approval from the local enforcements. So that's a very good start. But besides that, we do our all diligences, and we look like ILO level right certifications when we are working with suppliers that are overseas. Locally, we try to get, like we spoke before, to avoid all kind of supply chain ethical situations. We have third parties too, third party audits that can go and audit suppliers that we use overseas. And that's the most frequent things that we use. Of course, you have to use very third parties, agencies that are good for this and reliable. You also have to have try to get comprehensive sourcing criteria, meaning try to design oriented have sustainability and ethics in your motivation of whatever you're designing in the beginning, meaning try to design and try to produce products that are reachable in an ethical supply chain. And hopefully I explained that correctly. What else can we do there? Monitor and always keep monitoring everything. Like if it is in your in your factory, like I said, the government does take a big place in the Americas. Laws are very strict.
Yeah, of course.
In this particular case, and I think right now we don't face that a lot in the Americas. Because I think after so many years of very strict laws, people get to a standard, okay? So there isn't a standard law right now that people follows in the Americas. The big challenge here for ethical laws it's when you get into importing, and how do you make sure that supplier that you are using is using ethical methods. So third parties, inspections, and and inspections is what we use. And we as a brand, we try to visit also our suppliers.
Okay.
Make a visit, see what they're doing, see how they're doing it. Because sometimes seeing for yourself is the best. It's the best thing that you can do. That has been very effective in my case. Like, okay, go and visit the supplier and see that what you're reading, what you're getting into documentations and certifications matches what is really happening.
Okay.
Because, go ahead.
Are some of these suppliers outside of the Dominican Republic, or are they mostly in the Dominican Republic?
Mostly we have suppliers in the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
We have but it took a long time to create that supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, in our case, we found a supplier that was doing egg crates. Where people put eggs.
Could you repeat that? Egg crates?
Like containers.
Okay.
We found a supplier that was doing containers from garbage. Like recycling. So in our case, what it took was finding suppliers that were already doing sustainable items, and then translating the technique into the items that we needed.
Mm-hmm.
So it took a little bit of time for us to make the local suppliers to do the items that we wanted for our footwear. But we have local suppliers now, but we do have still imports. We do have imports, and that's the biggest challenge. that you have when you have to buy from outside suppliers, and how do you make sure that they are using ethics in whatever they're doing. And for external suppliers, what we have to use is third-party inspections.
Okay.
We have third-party organizations that go and they do inspections, and you get the full report of doing it. And also, you try to get suppliers that have already done certifications.
Okay.
But still, there's a lot to go in that area. There's still a lot of gray areas in that area, and when you buy from external suppliers.
Yes, I understand.
We still spend a lot of time on this, and our goal is, how do we eliminate getting external suppliers, expanding the local suppliers,
Yes.
and pushing the local industry to create what we don't have. Okay, and when you can, if the company have the resources, try to invest in the local industry. What we don't have, how can we get a machine to do it, or things like that? Be a little creative in the process to depend the minimum possible in external suppliers, because external suppliers create a whole different area of cost, and you have to be doing a lot of transportation and consumption of energy, of fuel, that for us to be at one point like net zero waste, we will have to deal with all those challenges.
Yeah.
Our goal will be to be able to manufacture. Our goal is to be able to manufacture with everything local.
Okay.
That's how, when we get there, I'm going to be so satisfied. But no 100 satisfaction, but I know that we are in a really great place. We're not there yet. So
Yeah, of course. How do you manage relationships with your key stakeholders, such as suppliers, workers, and customers, to ensure that the benefits of your sustainability initiatives are distributed fairly along the value chain?
Good question. Because sometimes you want to be sustainable, but how do you bring that? I mean, in order to be sustainable, you need to have sustainable suppliers, right? It's all a chain, and everybody have to be in the same lane. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
So first we try to communicate. We communicate with the suppliers what we're looking for, and who do we want to have a relationship with as suppliers. Like we explained before, we with the suppliers, we are always in a relationship with them of communicating back and forth. Like, okay, how can we do this better? How can we make this more efficient? Is there a better way to do this?
Mm-hmm.
How can we save more time? How can we consume less? And a constant back and forth with the suppliers. With workers, we are training.
Okay.
It's key over here. Training and communication and challenging workers. A lot of key energy saving in the company and the factory has come from workers. They do something and they come back to us with an idea to do it like in maybe 20% less of the time, or a better packaging way of doing things with less waste. Sometimes how to use less consumption in making one product. So workers is a key point. They are the biggest contribution in the system, and ideas too. With customers, I be honest with you. At one point, Sarah, we were maybe our strategy in merchandising, marketing, our benefits of our sustainability in our product. Like,
Okay.
we use water bottle fabric in our uppers. We use water cement in
Okay.
our shoes to avoid pollution. We were putting all these key factors in our merchandising thing, and I think we went a little too hard
Okay.
in displaying our sustainability benefits, and we have to push a little back. I don't know the reason yet. That's in process study.
Okay.
So with the customers right now, we are trying to communicate what we do, yes, but in a more, I don't know, maybe the consumers are too fast. They don't have a lot of time, and they don't want to read too much. Or maybe our strategy hasn't been the correct one.
Yeah.
But with the consumers, we're trying to maintain a relationship, going also only to the base points, like, hey, respect to animals, sustainability is key for
Of
our planet.
course.
Things more genetic and not so much detailing. Of course, we have a detailing area in our website. How do we do the cement? We don't use chemics in the cement.
Okay.
We use Prop 65 law, which is like any component, it's tested for more than 1,000 chemicals, and to be used in our footwear and accessories. But we put that more detailed area in our website where people that want to go a little deeper can go and check.
Okay.
But we are okay if our consumers know us for respect to animal and sustainability. We are happy with that, and the rest, well, we can communicate later, or they can go in our website and get more information.
Okay. Perfect.
And we hope that our sustainability initiatives go into the consumers' families, that they share, that they talk about what we're doing, and maybe they are doing their own business, right? Maybe
Of
that
course.
person have an industry, and they can say, wait, maybe I need to be a little more respectful and responsible in the product that I'm producing and the packaging. Wow, and I doing a packaging in my product that will go in the garbage, and it doesn't have any sustainability elements. I mean, if it rains, would that product be in the land for 10 years, 20 years, 50 years? Or as a company, should I be responsible right now and create a packaging that in 2 months will go out with the rain or with the sun? And we hope that things go into our consumers' lifestyle.
Yeah, of course. Okay, that makes sense. Are you here still?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I'm with you.
I thought the audio cut out. The last question is, what measures have you implemented to stay competitive while maintaining sustainable practices? And how do you share this information to your customers and stakeholders? Because I remember before in the interview you had said that you guys are a very small company still, and that it's hard to be competitive with all these bigger shoe brands.
Mm-hmm.
So how could...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what measurements you implemented? Okay, how to stay competitive?
Yeah.
Yes. While maintaining sustainable practices? Yes. And how do we share that? Yeah, first of all, we are a small company, and we're not shareholder. We are family owned still, so
Okay.
we have a better. We don't have too many excuses to say we cannot do it because the stakeholders right now.
Okay.
So what we want, we can do. All right. So first, to stay competitive, we have to push local.
Yeah.
local industry and vendors. Because for us, that is the most cost efficient and most efficient manufacturable way for us. That's number one. Like, to stay competitive, we know that we cannot be just another shoe brand.
Yeah.
We cannot compete with a brand that have billions in the strategy of merchandising and sponsorship, athletes, whatever. We know that our value will be for doing something super sustainable and different. So to get to that to that point, we need to get to our core, which is make everything with local components and sustainable components. So to stay competitive, although maybe it costs us a lot more now, but to get to that competitive advantage, that we think we will have a real great advantage when I can say in our brand, everything made with local components.
Mm-hmm.
We need to keep pushing local suppliers and investing in trying to buy everything local.
Okay.
That's a huge plan of implementation that we are working in. Like how the same thing that we did, like creating a box maker, a packaging maker in Dominican. How can we bring a supplier that does this fabric in Dominican Republic, or that can make this type of outsole or this type of component in Dominican Republic, and how do we find the investors to do that? Number three, another thing is, how do we make work environments that make people stay with us? Because there's a real cost involved when you lose great workers. First, it's hard to see them leave, and number two, you have a big impact in your efficiency. Your efficiency drops a lot when you have to start retraining. So invest in your work environment will, in the long run, help you cost-wise, and that will help you to stay competitive. Challenge your suppliers. New sources, new materials. How do we find also materials that are most cost effective?
Okay.
Like right now, not every day, but you know, when we started this company, the sustainable components that we could use were very few. So now there's more. Like now there's cactus leather. There's now like pineapple leather. You know, more items are being created in the industry that we can try to implement in our items that could create a cost impact that can help us to stay competitive. Right now we are we don't, being honest, like we are probably price wise not competitive with most of the big brands. Right now, the big brands probably passed an item to the regular consumers that the consumer might find with more value, brand-wise, maybe, and all that. Even if our product is better product-wise, meaning better material, better components. But there's going to be a point that the actions that we are doing now, which cost more now, we are putting our efforts, believing that in the future, when we can get those action of now translated into what we are looking for, which is local suppliers, our cost will be much more competitive than our and other brands. So it's like a long run right now.
Yeah.
It's not. It's like doing things that will pay off later, because the industry of sustainable manufacturing, although it's not real new, but we are seeing now a more how can we say that, Sara? It's more knowledgeable. There's more people know about it now.
Yeah.
Right? More consumers know about sustainable brands and are looking for sustainable brands. So we know right now we are not the most competitive, but we are doing at least we have the strategy to have a systematic, more transparent supply chain that in the future the consumers are more educated, more sustainable conscious, and then we will be into the items or brands or products that the consumer will be demanding.
Okay. Wow. Thank you so much for all of this information. I feel like I learned so much about your company, and I think it's really inspiring how you guys are doing this, especially in the Dominican Republic, because I know how it is there and how hard it is to get people, especially to look up to sustainable brands and to actually buy it. And from what I've heard so far, I think you guys are doing a very, very good job at promoting sustainability and trying to make your product as sustainable as possible in every aspect.
Thank you. Thanks. Great to hear that, Sara.
No, I really, really felt inspired from everything you said, just because I didn't really know how in depth the company was focusing on sustainability. And it's really nice to hear that a company in the Dominican Republic is trying to do so much good in the world.
Thank you. We appreciate that, and our goal is that the new generation to get the new generation to become sustainable oriented, which Dominican Republic, right? Very well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I was born and grew up there.
Yeah, so we have me too.
Yeah.
So we have the challenge of helping communities, like we spoke before. Like sometimes let's start with passing the message, because maybe they just grew up doing this, and maybe they just haven't been told of, let's recycle, let's do this, and communicate the message. We have seen really good results whenever we put the effort.
Yeah.
The communities, it pays back. It pays back. Of course, you have to be doing this for a reason, right? You have to believe in something, because you can get very energy. How can you say that? You can get frustrated, let's put it like that, in the process when you don't see the reaction that you want.
Yeah.
With some investments that you do in communities, like you do it and then 1 week it doesn't translate. But I think that's the beauty of the process, that it is not easy, because things that are easy probably you don't appreciate, don't remember too much, but the things that cost you a lot make an impact, then that will stay, and things that you can see later, the results that will improve people's environment and people's life, I think that's the best payoff that you can get.
Yeah.
We have a big challenge and ahead of us. We are very, very small to what we want to be. Unfortunately, resources limit what we want to do. But we are betting in that the industry we will get at one point to where that it will pay off and that we will have the resources that we want to make a bigger impact. Right now, there's so many things that we want to do, but everything has a cost really attached to it. And at the end of the day, we are running a business.
Yeah.
Profits will dictate what you can or cannot do most of the times.
Exactly.
I mean, you need to have the resources to implement things. That has been a big limitation for us in the last few years after COVID. It has been a little hard to the progress has been slow a little bit.
Okay.
But our focus stays the same, and we are just going to be patient.
Yeah.
We're just going to be very ambitious in what we want to do when we want to grow the community in Dominica and globally. Okay, so looking forward for people like you, Sara, that are taking time to get involved in
Thank you.
Sustainability and pass the message and get passionate about it.
Of course.
And leave a better planet to the new generations.
Yeah. Wow, thank you so much again for your answers. I do have to get going, but yeah, I will definitely look more into your company now that I've heard everything about it. I think it's very cool.
Thank you, Sara. Anytime, and all the best. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye. You too. Bye.
Bye.